Have you ever walked into a room and just felt someone's presence before even seeing them? Have you ever thought about someone out of nowhere, only to have them call or text you moments later? That's not coincidence. That's not just a trick of the mind. That is energy. And energy doesn't lie. When two people share a deep connection, they don't always need words to communicate. There is a force, an invisible current that runs between them, shaping their thoughts, emotions, and even their actions. It's the reason you feel an unexplainable pull toward someone even when logic says otherwise. It's the reason you think of them at the most unexpected moments, as if their energy is whispering to yours, calling out across time and space. This kind of energy is not something you can force. It's not something you can fabricate. It exists on a level that transcends conscious thought. It's primal, it's raw, it's real. Some call it chemistry, some call it intuition, but what it truly is a connection that is woven into the very fabric of your being. Imagine this. You're in a crowded place, lost in your own thoughts, and suddenly, without looking up, you know someone familiar is nearby. You don't hear their voice, you don't see their face, but you feel them. And when you finally look up, there they are. That's unspoken energy. It's as if your souls recognize each other before your eyes do. Or think about those moments when your mind wanders to a particular person for no reason at all. You're busy, you're distracted, and suddenly, boom, they're on your mind. It's not a memory, it's not something external triggering the thought, it's just there. And then minutes later, you get a message from them. That's not just chance, that's a sign. That's energy working in ways we can't fully explain, but can absolutely feel. This kind of energy doesn't always announce itself with flashing lights and dramatic encounters. Sometimes it's subtle. It's in the way your body instinctively reacts when they walk into a room, even if you haven't seen them yet. It's in the way you feel lighter, warmer, more alive when they're near. It's in the way you get goosebumps when they say your name, even in a casual conversation. Have you ever experienced that electric charge when you lock eyes with someone? That moment when time seems to slow and the world fades into the background? That's not just attraction, that's recognition. Your energy is aligning with theirs, creating a moment so powerful that you both feel it in your core. And let's talk about dreams. How many times have you dreamed about someone only to wake up and feel like they were just there? Like they weren't just a character in your subconscious, but a real presence reaching out to you in a place beyond the physical world. That's energy too. Because when a connection is strong enough, it doesn't just exist in waking life, it crosses into the dream world, binding two souls even when they sleep. Unspoken energy is also why you sometimes just know when something is off with them. They don't have to say a word, they don't have to send a message, but deep down you feel it. Maybe you wake up with an uneasy feeling, only to later find out they were struggling that day. Maybe you suddenly feel anxious or restless with no logical explanation, only to discover they were thinking about you, missing you, wondering if you were feeling the same pull. And let's be honest, this energy doesn't fade easily. It doesn't just disappear because of time, distance, or even circumstances. If anything, distance can amplify it. Have you ever noticed that the more you try to push someone out of your mind, the more they keep showing up? The more you try to suppress the connection, the stronger it becomes. That's because energy doesn't obey logic. It doesn't follow rules. It doesn't care about the reasons why you shouldn't think about them. It just is. This is why even after months or years apart, when you finally see them again, it's like no time has passed. You don't have to rebuild the connection. It was never broken in the first place. It was simply waiting, dormant but alive, ready to reignite the moment you're back in each other's orbit. Some people call this fate, others call it destiny, but the truth is, whether you believe in those things or not, The energy between two connected people is undeniable. It's not about logic, it's about feeling. And feelings, real, deep, soul-level feelings, don't just vanish, they linger, they persist. They whisper in quiet moments and scream in unexpected ones. So the next time you find yourself thinking about someone over and over again, seemingly out of nowhere, pay attention. The next time you feel their presence before they even arrive, trust it. The next time you get that sudden, undeniable sense that they're thinking about you too, don't ignore it. Because energy never lies. Have you ever noticed certain things happening repeatedly when you think about someone? Maybe it's a specific song playing on the radio every time you're deep in thought about them. Maybe you keep seeing their name in random places, on billboards, in books, on TV. Maybe you run into them at unexpected moments, in places you wouldn't normally expect. It feels like the universe is whispering something to you, nudging you to pay attention. This is synchronicity, the mysterious alignment of events that seem too perfect to be random. It's when life starts dropping hints, showing you signs that there is something more happening beneath the surface. It's not just about coincidence, it's about meaningful connections between thoughts and reality. Think about those moments when you wake up in the middle of the night for no reason at all, only to check your phone and see it's exactly 2:22 a.m. or 11:11 p.m., those repeating numbers that seem to follow you. Then later that day, you get a message from the person you've been thinking about. That's not random. That's synchronicity in action. The world is aligning things, revealing subtle signs that you are both on the same wavelength. Or maybe you're sitting there lost in thought about them when suddenly your phone vibrates. For a split second, you know it's them before you even look. And sure enough, it is. How do you explain that? You didn't consciously expect them to text, but your subconscious did. Your energy was already tuned into theirs. That's the power of synchronicity. And it doesn't stop there. Sometimes these signs come in ways that seem almost surreal. Have you ever opened a book or an article and landed on a sentence that perfectly describes your feelings about this person? Have you ever turned on the TV and heard words that seem to answer a question you've been asking in your mind? The universe speaks in patterns, in symbols, in perfectly timed messages that you can't ignore. Then there are the times when you cross paths with them unexpectedly. Maybe you haven't spoken in weeks, maybe months, but suddenly there they are, walking into the same coffee shop, attending the same event, or even appearing in your dreams so vividly that it feels real. What are the odds? In a world full of billions of people, how does this keep happening? The logical mind wants to call it a coincidence, but deep down you know it's more than that. And let's talk about dreams. Dreams are one of the most powerful forms of synchronicity. Have you ever dreamed of someone only to have them reach out the next day? Or maybe you both had a dream about each other on the same night. That's not just imagination, that's connection. Your subconscious mind and theirs are communicating on a level beyond space and time. Synchronicity also appears in shared experiences. Maybe you both post the same type of song on your social media at nearly the same time without any discussion about it. Maybe you're thinking about sending them a message only to find out they just messaged you first. It's like an invisible thread is pulling both of you toward the same thoughts, the same feelings, the same moments, without either of you consciously controlling it. Even technology seems to play a part in this. Have you ever noticed that their name pops up in random places? Maybe a notification from an old conversation resurfaces. Maybe their profile appears in your suggestions even though you haven't searched for them. Maybe a mutual friend brings up their name in conversation just as you were thinking about them. It's like the world is conspiring to keep them in your awareness. And then there are those moments where everything in your gut tells you to reach out, to send that text, to make that call, only for them to beat you to it. It's as if an unseen force is aligning your actions, guiding both of you toward each other at the exact right moment. But the most powerful synchronicity of all is the feeling of knowing, that deep intuitive sense that something is happening beneath the surface. That sense that they are thinking about you at the exact moment you are thinking about them. That awareness that no matter where they are, no matter what they are doing, there is an invisible connection still alive between you. You could try to dismiss it. You could tell yourself it's just a trick of the mind, just patterns your brain is recognizing. But the truth is, when these signs keep showing up over and over again in ways that defy logic, it's no longer just a coincidence. It's something more. And whether you choose to believe it or not, the signs don't stop. They continue to appear as if the universe is patiently waiting for you to notice. Have you ever been going about your day completely fine when suddenly a wave of sadness, joy, or nostalgia hits you out of nowhere? You weren't thinking about anything in particular, yet you felt something shift inside you. And then hours later, you find out that the person you've been deeply connected to was going through an emotional moment at that exact time. This is not just a strange occurrence. It's what I call an emotional echo, a phenomenon where your emotions are influenced by someone else's energy, even if they're miles away. It's as if their feelings ripple through the universe and reach you without a single word being spoken. There are moments when you feel their sadness without knowing why, when your heart tightens for no apparent reason, and later you find out they were struggling with something that very day. It's not because you're imagining things. It's because when two people share a strong connection, their emotions become intertwined and their energy moves beyond physical barriers. Think about it. Have you ever had a day where you felt restless, distracted, or even anxious, but you couldn't pinpoint a reason? Then out of nowhere, you get a message from them saying they had a tough day, and suddenly everything makes sense. That restlessness, that unexplained tension, it wasn't random. It was theirs. You were picking up on their energy before they even told you. This happens with joy too. There are moments when you feel light, happy, or filled with excitement for no reason. And then you find out later that something great happened to them, that they were thinking about you in a moment of pure happiness. That energy traveled between you like an invisible thread, carrying their joy straight to your heart. The most fascinating part of emotional echoes is that they don't always require communication. You don't need to be in the same place. You don't need to be talking. The connection exists beyond words, beyond proximity, beyond logic. It's like a sixth sense, a deep awareness that tells you what the other person is feeling without a single clue from the outside world. Have you ever woken up feeling unusually emotional, only to find out later that they were having a hard time at that exact moment? Have you ever randomly teared up or felt a lump in your throat with no explanation, only to later hear that they were thinking about you? That's not just a strange coincidence. That's an emotional echo, a signal that their energy is reaching you, whether you realize it or not. Sometimes emotional echoes show up in physical ways. Have you ever had chills run down your spine when thinking about them? Have you ever felt a sudden warmth, as if someone was near, even when you were alone? That's energy transferring. That's emotions manifesting in ways beyond just thoughts. It's your body reacting to something unseen but deeply felt. Even dreams can be part of this. Have you ever had a dream about someone that felt too real? A dream where their emotions were so vivid that you woke up feeling like you had actually been with them? And then the next day they tell you they were missing you or thinking about you at the same time? That's an emotional echo breaking through the boundaries of sleep, showing up in your subconscious because the connection is that strong. Emotional echoes can also reveal themselves through music, random thoughts, or sudden memories. You're going about your day when suddenly a song that reminds you of them plays right when they're thinking about you. Or you smell a scent that reminds you of them at the exact moment they're missing you. These are more than just memories. These are signals, little reminders that the energy between you both is still alive, still active, still reaching across time and space. And let's not forget about those moments when you get a sudden urge to check your phone, expecting a message from them. You open your inbox, and there it is, a text, a missed call, something that confirms they were thinking about you at that exact moment. It's as if your heart knew before your mind did. Emotional echoes also explain why some connections feel impossible to break. Even when you try to move on, even when you put distance between you, their energy still reaches you. You still feel their emotions as if they're yours, and no matter how much time passes, that invisible thread still tugs at you, reminding you that the connection isn't just in your mind, it's in your heart, in your soul, in the very energy that surrounds you. Have you ever just known that someone was thinking about you, not because of anything they said or did, but because you could feel it? That deep, unshakable sense that at the exact moment you were thinking of them, they were thinking of you too? That's intuitive connection. A force beyond logic, beyond explanation, but undeniably real. This kind of connection isn't something you can fake or force. It's something that exists between certain people. An invisible bond that allows them to sense each other's thoughts, emotions, and even presence without needing words or actions to confirm it. It's that moment when you reach for your phone to text them, only to see they've already sent you a message. It's the times when you're about to say something, but they beat you to it, word for word. It's knowing what they're feeling before they say a single thing. Have you ever felt a sudden wave of warmth, like a presence wrapping around you, even when you were alone? Have you ever gotten chills when their name popped into your head, like the universe was whispering something to you? That's intuitive connection in action. It's a feeling so strong, so certain, that you don't need confirmation to believe it. You just know. Some call it telepathy, some call it energy alignment, but whatever name you give it, the experience is always the same. An unexplainable awareness of another person's thoughts and emotions as if they are an extension of your own. Think about this. Have you ever been in a crowded place, completely focused on something else, when suddenly you felt someone looking at you, and when you turned around, your eyes locked with them? That's not just instinct. That's connection. That's your energy responding to theirs, even before you were consciously aware of it. Or maybe you've had those nights where you just can't sleep. No matter how tired you are, no matter how much you try, your mind keeps wandering to them, your heart feels restless, like something is unfinished, and then the next day you find out they couldn't sleep either, as if your thoughts were keeping each other awake, as if your energy was calling out to them across the distance. And it's not just in sleepless nights or random thoughts. It's in the way you can sense when something is wrong, even when they say everything is fine. You hear their voice, you see their face, and deep down you just know they're not okay. No matter how much they smile, no matter what words they use, you can feel the weight in their heart as if it were your own. Because in a real intuitive connection, emotions don't need to be spoken, they're felt. This kind of connection can show up in ways that seem almost magical. Have you ever had a strong, sudden urge to call or text someone, so strong it felt impossible to ignore, only to find out they were desperately hoping to hear from you at that exact moment? Have you ever thought about them intensely, and then suddenly they appear in your life, whether through a message, a call, or even in person? It's as if the universe responds to the energy you both put out, aligning moments in a way that defies all rational explanation. Dreams are another powerful way intuitive connections reveal themselves. Have you ever had a dream so vivid about them that it felt real? A dream where you weren't just seeing them, but feeling their emotions, hearing their voice, experiencing something as if it were happening in real life, and then the next day, they mentioned that they were thinking of you, missing you, or even dreaming about you too? These experiences aren't just imagination. They're another way your subconscious mind picks up on their energy, connecting you both even when you sleep. Intuitive connections don't fade easily, even when you try to move on, even when you put time and distance between you, their presence lingers. You still feel their energy at unexpected moments. You still think about them just as they're thinking about you. You still know when something significant is happening in their life, even if you haven't spoken in weeks or months. It's as if an invisible thread is pulling you together, keeping your souls aligned despite all logic and reason. And perhaps the most powerful proof of an intuitive connection is this: no matter how much time passes, no matter what happens in life, when you finally do speak or see each other again, it feels as if no time has passed at all. The connection is still there, unchanged, untouched, undeniable.